This is what they do, and the key here, Rebecca, is also to make sure that the communities who are potentially impacted are prepared as well. And it's not just hurricanes and wildfires, also extreme heat, which certainly some parts of the United States are already experiencing.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas sounding the alarm on FEMA funding right after the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Listen.
Are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This all comes as the Biden-Harris administration.
Wrong again. Wrong. And so let's just take a 30,000-foot view of this. We understand that we've spent billions upon billions of dollars in Ukraine and Israel and Iran and basically every nation in the world, and we didn't prepare for this hurricane season. We understand that our administration, this regime that rules over us, has promised $750 to the people who are suffering and is failing incessantly to provide anyone with that $750 except those who already have government assistance for their day-to-day life. And we understand that they are blocking and arresting people for interfering on the ground with delivering shipments. We understand that they aren't actually having any supplies shipped to the area, and this is a disaster in and of itself. Frankly, this response to the disaster is an even bigger disaster than the disaster itself. And when you look at this, it's like, what's the motive? And, well, David Axelrod, in clip number 47, answers that question for you. He says Trump voters in hurricane-ravaged areas will have difficulty voting.
There you go.
Here's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes, another
storms. And there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area, but there are a lot of voters there.
Key.
But those voters in Asheville are, they're, you know, the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. You know, they're upscale, kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountain.
Just like we saw in 2020 and 2016, this is an attempt to undermine the will of the people being represented on November 5th when we go to vote for the President of the United States. They want to delay the response to this as long as possible, so those who would normally vote for Trump in the region have no way to do so on November 5th or before November 5th. And they haven't even stopped there. Obviously, they've attempted to assassinate President Trump at least twice, I believe 3 times, if you take into consideration.
But let's hope that will never happen again.
So let's see clip number 23 then. In response to Melania, let's see what The View has been saying about Melania. Obviously, she's expressing concern for her husband. She's come out with numerous videos expressing concern and affection for her husband, but The View just can't stomach the notion that maybe Trump and his wife Melania or value or virtue of this man as much as possible because they're after you. Clip number 23.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all agree on that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore. They agree with you.
Wow. These bitches are sick, man.
Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas. She doesn't want to decorate.
Did you see what the Biden regime did to Christmas with the Nutcracker video?
She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. She can't tolerate him.
Allegedly.
And she does.
Yeah, how do you know all this?
Yeah, how do you know?
Yeah, how do you know? You're just making it up. Absolutely disgusting. And they haven't stopped there. MSNBC came out in clip number 22 this week and said that the only reason that Melania did the nudes photo shoot from years and years ago, I think before she was even married to Trump, is because she wanted to draw men to support Trump. This is bizarre. Clip number 22.
Melania is talking to those young men particularly. She may be talking just to their wives, but this is, you know, she's in line with where most of the United States is and all the polling shows where the population is. She's just not particularly in line with where her husband's politics are.
Well, she may have been speaking to those young men with her naked pictures when she did the nude photo shoots in GQ, but we can't forget that Laura Bush did.
So now they're giving her a hard time for the naked photo shoot that she did. Well, they support OnlyFans accounts like hell, and they support the right for women women to be sex workers all the time. So it's okay when they do it, but it's not okay when Melania Trump years and years ago did some scandalous.
They were pretty tasteful, actually. Those pictures. Come on, man. This is
photos for a photo opportunity. She was a model. Models always do photo shoots where they look sexy. It's unbelievable. It's like they're jealous that she's sexy, that there's something natural and heterosexual about this relationship between Donald Trump and Melania Trump. And I think the fact of the matter is, in clip 4, we'll see from Doug himself, they're just disappointed that they cannot reciprocate the same kind of relationship or the same kind of normalcy that we see from the right,
clouds
from
look so
Republicans
weird.
and Trump supporters who are in
keep saying that every day.
stay in marriages and have children. We see the likes of Doug coming up, and compared to Melania, he really is a gremlin. Let's watch clip number 4.
Gotta get into this. Okay, so there was an impression of you on Saturday Night Live. What did you think of it?
Well, I've been watching that show my whole life, and to think that somebody's playing me, first of all, it's just so wow. And then I got handed. Andy Samberg did a good job.
So he approved.
I approve, Andy. Good job. I love the second gentleman line was pretty good. His little Dougie, coming.
Oh, so you got your little dance?
Well, he had his little dance. He was like trying to do the Dougie. I don't know what that move was, but
Okay. Okay.
it was pretty good. Andy, good job.
Good job. Approved. There you go.
Maya Rudolph, she's so good as
Yes.
Kamala. That is she did a really good job.
That's a great combination. It gotta be odd to be like, once you were a fan of the show and now they're impersonating you.
Yeah, it's like I said, so much of this is so surreal.
Such a
and to have.
And then we've got the likes of Tim Walz in clip number 35, apparently getting off the bus in New York to a very small crowd. I don't know if it might have been New York, PA, but getting off the bus in clip number 35, and he's like, this is the best moment of my life, let's watch. Look at him. There's like nobody there.
That is the coolest thing I've ever gotten.
That is the coolest thing that I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh, good.
It was so cool. It was so amazing.
Weekend was too short,
It was just
man.
so beautiful to see all that. And then you have
Back to the grind.
I mean, I can't even stop. These clips, they just go on and on and on and on with this ridiculousness. How about clip number 28, where Chris Farley somehow came back from the dead and accurately impersonated Tim Walz right here.
I don't understand what's going on in the news. I'm not likable. I don't get along with people. I don't change my underwear. Make babies cry. Drink maple syrup straight from the bottle.
And not to mention how embarrassing Kamala Harris is with her different accents for different crowds. We're going to show clip number 26 in a second. Every time she speaks to a different group of people, she adopts a different accent, a different vernacular to try to liken herself or associate with those people. Nobody is falling for it. The internet exists in a way now that did not exist in the 90s. I don't know why she thinks she can get away with it. Why can Tim Walz get away with stolen valor? Why did he think that? Why does Kamala Harris think that she can get away with stealing people's vernacular and accents? This is clip number 26.
I'm so convinced that if Kamala Harris went in front of a Vietnamese crowd, oh, come leave, I'll make everything better for the Vietnamese people. And this is how we're gonna do it.
This week of some family or group actually doing something that's the closest I've ever seen to accurately depicting the rape back. So let's watch clip number 21 just for about a minute so you can see this asinine, awkward, bizarre support. Mentally ill. Truly mentally ill. 21. more clips for the next hour. In the meantime, please visit Legal Defense Fund and Expenses Fund for if we have to launch another operation. And please go to thealexjonesstore.com. Purchase any goods there. This really helps Alex. We have an amazing deal with our partners at Bigley. They have been American heroes in their support for us. Please go to thealexjonesstore.com. Buy any of the t-shirts, hoodies, merch. We've got new Halloween shirts that are absolutely amazing. Plus, every dollar you spend enters you to win an amazing $138,000 Dodge Ram truck plus $10,000 in cash. So if you're not wanting to just give and donate to realalexjones.com, if you want something back, then go to thealexjonesstore.com. Right now, more news on the other side.
See, silver's doing way better than gold in growth, and it's way undervalued. That's a fact. Why then are the central banks mainly hoarding gold?
Well, because there's simply not enough silver, right? It's like if you've got central banks that start allocating into silver when it's $30 an ounce and they want to have it be part of their reserves, it's like, okay, there's not enough silver in the world to do that, right? So they have to do gold because it's $2,400 an ounce, not $30 an ounce, right? So this is why
they've got so many quadrillions of fake money. There's too much fiat to even buy the silver, which I would say that means silver still will always be the thing that grows the most.
Oh, so silver, historically the numbers prove out that when gold is in a bull market, which it is, or near all-time highs, silver does better than gold. So silver grows faster, and there's a reason why. Silver and gold both act as barometers to government distrust, right? It's the worse things get, the better financial metals do. They're a flight for safety. But what silver has that gold doesn't is it's a manufacturing metal. It's used in industry. So in aerospace and defense, in electronics and solar power, electric vehicles, all of that. The demand for silver is through the roof, Alex, and we're just taking advantage of that. And imagine what silver will do with Trump being president, somebody who actually grows the economy rather than having a stagnant economy. The industrial need for silver is absolutely going to explode.
No, you're right. Silver is the closest thing to a silver bullet. That's why they call it a silver bullet. You can go to kpm.com/gold right now. You get silver now, brother.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next.
They want to own the name Alex Jones. They want to own Real Alex Jones.
want you to know that based on the jury's verdict today, it's not a very good bet. Take him out of this discourse, of this misinformation, of this peddling of lies, and make sure he can't do it again.
The Justice Department-backed Deep State has launched a new and vicious attack on myself and InfoWars. They're attempting to seize control of operations October 17th because they know coming up on November 13th, InfoWars is going up for sale at auction, and they're worried patriots are going to buy it, and the operation will continue on. They are pulling out all the stops, have introduced a lawsuit, the Democrat Party-backed group, in Travis County with judges they think they control. They literally, and this has been adjudicated in the Supreme Court, the Texas Supreme Court, the Fifth Circuit, all of it, are saying they own my name and own me, and that, like I'm a corporation, they want a receiver appointed that owns me forever. That's why they didn't want to settle. They wanted it to be non-dischargeable. And when they shut down InfoWars, if they're successful, it doesn't matter. Anything with $1.5 million, they say they own me.
What is an indentured servant? If I'm an English youth and want to get to America, I will sign a contract saying that I will give 7 years of labor to a master who will pay the price of the ticket to get across the Atlantic on a ship. But when I sign that contract, I'm in for 7 years of extremely tough labor. I might not survive it because that master, I'm just a piece of property. He can do with me what he wants. I don't work hard enough, he can beat me. If he doesn't like the way I work, he can sell me to a neighbor.
Indentured servants accounted for 3/4 of the 130,000 English who came to the Chesapeake in the 1600s.
Now, the courts of old world, you can't do this, it's cut and dry, but they don't care because they believe they control the courts in Travis County, which they're now filing in. The Democratic Party has officially. They want me off the air when President Trump is president-elect, and they're moving to shut us down now on October 17th. I'll sleep on somebody's couch and do this broadcast. But the issue is, if I don't fight them in federal court and state court now, they will absolutely hamstring what I'm doing if they're successful and set this dangerous precedent. I've been up here like a baby bird chirping, begging for food because I don't want to give up. And I hate begging, but I hate losing to the New World Order. We're so close to victory, a lot worse.
Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of props. The Alex Jones store. I got my Night Panther 1984 1776 wristband on. I buy the products because I like the products and I like the merch. And here's the thing, I buy beautiful wristbands and the stickers to give them out. And I've been looking for InfoWars stickers for a while because the main store I didn't have them. So finding out that there's stickers, for 1776, etc. on this site means I finally have stickers mysteriously appear in my neighborhood again. I'm not going to say it's the main thoroughfare and along the bus route, stickers from every bus start of the route to the end of the route, but let's just say somebody may have some of those stickers out and kind of put up until the bus line got formed, you know.
That's awesome, Sean.
There's not too many platforms like this that have this reach, that have this depth of knowledge, and I give you guys props for fighting through it all. And I'm looking at the red and black InfoWars t-shirt with the gold style print from my next purchase, so keep it going, guys.
It's Monday, October 7th, in the year of our Lord 2024. And you're tuned in to the American Journal with your host, Maria Z. Watch it live right now at band.video.
Good morning, everyone. It is wonderful to see you all today, and boy oh boy do we have a lot to talk about. I'll be here with you for the next couple of days breaking down what's going on with Kamala Harris, who's just decided to spend her time doing a very disgusting podcast. We have more aid, an announcement of more aid going to overseas nations while the people of North Carolina are suffering. We've got a special guest coming up for you today that's been on the ground there. And I want to talk to you as well about something called managed retreat. We'll get into that probably in the third hour at this stage. And what I think could very well be a proposal that comes out a lot of these quote-unquote climate catastrophes. So we'll get into that a little bit later on today, but I want to show you Kamala appeared on this podcast while the people of North Carolina are suffering. She decided to go on this podcast. This is I'm going to say this as carefully as I possibly can because I am aware that there are decent people watching this broadcast. It's a podcast that's dedicated to extremely explicit material, women discussing things that should really never leave a woman's mouth. And it's a very distasteful, in my opinion, podcast and dedicated to explicit sexual content, and I mean seriously explicit. And so Kamala goes on this podcast and the host asks her, oh, well, why did you choose to come on this podcast? And she says, oh, because you talk about the real things, the real issues that people care about. And you've got
it's going to be in the 60s here
right now that's been absolutely devastated by a hurricane. I just met someone over the weekend who came back.
I love this time of year. It's my favorite time of year.
I didn't just meet them, I know them, but I saw them over the weekend who just came back from North Carolina. And the words that he said, and I quote, were, "It is a graveyard. It is a graveyard." As the water is subsiding and starting to dry, which by the way makes cleanup efforts very difficult as well because everything starts to dry and get hard. Bodies are starting to show up in that rubble. It is absolutely devastating, and this person said it's far worse than what you think and it's far worse than what you're seeing. And so
Duke City's there picking up bodies.
This time, despite doing, a little bit of a photo op, pretending she's out there giving food to people or whatever, supplies. You would have all probably seen that video of her doing that momentarily. But the bulk of her time was spent, I would say, preparing for this podcast with real issues that people care about. But there is a moment in that podcast, I'm not going to subject you to the whole thing because it really is terrible and infuriating to see her focusing on this rather than the people that are suffering in North Carolina. And by the way, we have another hurricane coming this week. We'll talk about that as well.
Probably hit Thursday.
She says these are the real things
West coast of Florida
that Americans care about.
Formed in the Gulf.
There is a clip from there.
Very rare.
Where she asks her the question whether she can think of any examples, and this comes from a previous hearing that Kamala was in and the man couldn't answer, but she says, are there any examples of where
yesterday we had 80. We're supposed to be in the 60s this week.
Or told to do with their bodies like women are that you can think of. So let's take a look at that clip. Kamala, call her daddy, clip 26.
I want to pose this question more to you and the daddy gang, but one of the biggest conversations in this year's election revolves around a woman's body.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I want to take a moment, and can we try to think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision, I know what you're going to ask, about a man's body? No. Is there any law? No.
Really?
It's no. Maybe a draft? A draft gives the government the authority to tell a man to do what to do with his body. A draft that, by the way, has been floated in multiple circles. We've had discussions of, maybe we need to bring back a draft. Maybe that's what we need to do in the US so that American sons and daughters can go die for Middle Eastern wars or Ukraine or whatever the case may be. We've had similar conversations in Germany, the UK, Australia. Multiple countries have said maybe we need to bring back a draft, but that's not an example of the government telling men what to do with their own bodies.
I don't know if it was created, but I believe it was steered.
The military-industrial complex can get richer so that these globalist wars that are being
the seeding can steer them too.
Reset is not an example of the government being able to tell men what to do with their bodies. By the way, it's women too, so liberal women, you get your chance. If things continue to accelerate,
look at the
really
flight paths inside of it.
You can go die for Ukraine. Woo. The stupidity of this woman or I should say, the might play a clip from Tucker saying exactly that later. But I want to show you something very, very telling. It's in pictures 22 and 23. The audience response, and this is the response from the audience who actually regularly watches this Call Her Daddy podcast. And you've got one person saying thousands are dying in NC, and this is what she's doing. Is she going to need the earpiece for this too?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a death day.
So you see, this is actually.
All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. Love you. Peace. Thanks for popping in on inDOCtriNATION.
Saying, I don't think someone who just signed a 100